Welcome to the Brisbane Property Podcast with your hosts Melinda and Scott Jennison.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Brisbane Property Podcast. Really exciting today. We've followed a bit of a journey with these guys that have joined us today, Rhys and Michelle. They lost their house in the floods just over 12 months ago, 13 months ago, February 2022. And we did an episode back in episode 139 where we talked to Rhys about what happened through that journey. And it's really exciting that we can bring this exciting news to everyone.
Yes, welcome back everybody to today's episode. We are ecstatic to tell you and share the news that Rhys and Michelle have now purchased their new home. And we're going to share that journey because we partnered with them on this journey. And you will recall when we recorded the last episode with Rhys back in January that, we had partnered with them, and the journey really has been full of ups and downs since then. But we'd like to capture that today and just help people understand, what that journey looks like, but also what it is like when you do partner with a buyer's agent throughout that buying journey. So hopefully you'll get a lot out of this episode.
So I'll probably go back a little bit to start with, and I guess the history of how we've got to know you guys. Rhys being a 4-time Olympian with waterpolo. My boys just look up to you and still do. The eldest played a little bit with you. You've done a bit of coaching with the boys, which they absolutely love. So we've known you a little bit through that side of it, obviously. And I know some of your family as well, brother and dad. So to have that sort of connection through that, but then, 12 months ago, you guys were in Hobart, I believe, in Tasmania for a friend's wedding when the devastation of the floods hit your house.
Yeah. I mean, it does feel like a year ago, but it also feels like it's been like such a long time as well, doesn't it? Yeah. But yes, we were interstate for a friend's wedding. We left Brisbane on the Friday, I think, blissfully unaware. I don't even know if it was actually raining on the Friday when we left. Yeah. Or maybe we left on the Thursday, but yeah, no speak of any floods on the way. So it was a very quickly turned into a different trip for us after that point, didn't it?
And the news, obviously, of hearing that water was rising, and I know we've captured the emotion of that journey back in episode 139. But, when you got that call, I guess the trip turned on its head. It no longer became, this is where we want to be. Yeah. I want to be home. I want to be back to see what's happening.
Yeah, it got pretty somber, like because our neighbours were keeping us up to date, and, our street, like Rhys probably spoke about last time, our street did flood if we had really heavy rain, and we were kind of just, it floods. Like we understand that,
It's going to go in the park.
Yeah, it's going to go in the park. And then you get that photo of like, okay, it's under your house, and you're like, we're off the ground, like we're 2 meters off, that's fine. And we were just getting these updates, and then when it got to the point where it was like, okay, it's at your front door now, it was sort of, I think that was the evening of the wedding. We were at the wedding when we were getting those updates
at the reception, and you're trying to enjoy that, but then you're like,
I've got my phone plugged in to like where the DJ's things plugged in, getting updates while we're at the wedding, and then the next morning we got the photo of the water like through the house, and I think that was when it was sort of, okay, do we leave? Do we change our flights? But we only had one more day there, and like, what can you actually do? Like, and all the roads were blocked off as well. So it's like, can we even get out of the airport in Brisbane? There was actually nothing. So we just kind of stayed there that additional night.
Some flights were being converted to the Gold Coast, or even
because they
just being cancelled.
So I guess in your mind, you're probably thinking it'll be all right. Even when you're saying the water's coming, you're probably in your mind thinking, it's fine. It's only at the front door.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
I think once it got inside the house, we kind of knew, okay, that's probably that
trouble.
Yeah. And
Well, we're in, obviously, because we're staying at an Airbnb with mum and dad and my brother and his wife Courtney, and once we knew it was in the house, Dad was just like, just go through the whole thing, man. Like, let it go, like, because it's like, I would rather it just completely go than rather just a little tiny bit, and then like you're still dealing with the same problem. But we're just like, but then it was like the highs and lows of being like, is it going? Is it not going? And then like,
And moving forward from there, you sort of explored various options of what to do. You cleaned the house out. You obviously had spoken to council about potential buyback. That was an option available to you, but what eventuated, what happened to that home?
I was pretty set on staying there. Like after the flood, I was like, no, like we were halfway through the plans for the renovation as well. Like I'd seen these 3D renders of what it was going to look like, and I really had my heart set on that. And then when you actually sort of looked into a bit more, like I spoke to Phil, who's Rhys's dad, who's a builder, we spoke to him, and he was like, you're going to have to get out of that level of flood. I think it was like 25 steps to the front door. And I just thought, like, carrying groceries up there every day. We have a toddler. What does that look like? Is it just going to be this like monstrosity in the street? And then you kind of realize that the house you had plans for wasn't the house that now going to be doing. So then spending that amount of money on something that's not your dream house is kind of like, okay, well, do I actually want to do that? So then we kind of, all right, let's pull the pin on that and then let's decide. So we did apply for the government buyback, but obviously there was so many suburbs that were applying for that as well. So we didn't actually, we kind of got like updates, like you've progressed to the next round of applications and stuff like that, but we really didn't.
No one you could even talk to or call up. It was just the sort of ring around. Yes, it's been looked into.
So you're just kind of sitting there stagnant for months and months.
Just waiting.
Not really knowing what to do. And I mean, all your money's tied up in your house. So it's like, you can't just be like, well, I'm going to go buy another house, right? Like you're just at a standstill with everything. Like there's nowhere to go. There's no one to talk to. You just kind of having to be like, okay, things are happening behind the scenes and I just can't see it. And then I think eventually we made the decision when was it? Like November maybe of last year to sell the house privately. We just kind of started looking into that, and we found a realtor who was like, yep, she'd sold flooded houses before. And
give her a plug, Christy Noble, Noble Properties. Very, very lovely. So
she was amazing. She was, Phil, I remember she came to your parents' house and Phil was like, oh, do you think you'll sell it? She's like, I'll sell it, no problem. Like it's just, we got to find the right person.
Her property also went through the flood. She knew where we were coming from. So and I think she sold it. She came back to us with a couple of offers, and I think she sold it within the first 2 weeks of it being listed. So then once we were out of that, it was kind of like, okay, great, that is a huge thing gone for us. Like we're not tied down to anything now. I was in touch with you a lot, Scott. I was like, yep, we're ready. We're coming in.
Right, like we can do this now. Like we're in a position where we can move on and look for something else.
And Michelle, if it's okay, we know you shared that story on your own Facebook account on settlement day, and I'd love to share that with our podcast audience if that's okay with you. So these are Michelle's words, and I'd just like to share the emotion of what that journey looked like. Michelle states, I remember this photo being taken, standing at the front of our home, our first home, thinking one day we will look back on this picture and think, wow, look what we created. Almost 3 years ago to the day, we bought our first home. Not our dream house, but a house we had the biggest dreams for, where our daughter would take her first steps, where we would rehearse our first dance as husband and wife, and where we would make lifelong memories with family and friends. What was to be a once-in-a-100-year event was happening less than 11 years later, and there was nothing we could do to stop it. Whilst we were out of state, we received updates of the water level. Once the water reached the inside of our home, we made peace with what was about to happen, knowing that the most important things, the things that truly meant the most to us, were right here. If there is anything this experience has given me, it's perspective. The experience to know that life is not about what you have, but who you have. Today is settlement day, the day we officially say goodbye to this house and all the amazing plans we had for it. The future is looking bright. A new home with a new +1 is just on the horizon. More attainable now than ever before. Goodbye, Alawa Street. What a journey it has been. We hope your new owners are able to make you just as beautiful as we had planned. It really captures the emotion of the story and the journey that you both went through from when the flood went through. Thank you for allowing me to share that. Hearing your own words back. Yeah. And, I think that for those listening, when you are impacted in this way, it impacts so many parts of your life. And I think that, the emotion that you shared there was real, it was raw. And I think it captures what a lot of people that have been through, a similar sort of devastation in their life. That is what's most important. It's about the people, not the things, but the story gets a lot happier from that point forward. Right?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's so emotional because you just kind of know where you were and then where you are now, and you just like there's so like every point in the journey was emotional for me. Like I think when we settled our insurance, I think I cried about that.
Yes.
When we bought this house, I cried about that because it's just been like a year of just ups and downs. And I mean, we have had it like, you know, being with Phil and Kim, like they've hosted us for the last year and we're super grateful for that, but it's never your house. And like the emotion of, you know, what that brings with having a toddler there and, you know, all of that sort of stuff. It's the best kind of situation it could have been, but it's never your own place. And I think between us, it caused like some conflict as well, because it's sort of like, I'm ready, but Rhys is like, we're not ready. Like, you know, so it's just been like so many ups and downs throughout.
An emotional roller coaster.
Yeah, a whole year. So yeah, when I hear that, I'm kind of like, oh, like.
And for those listeners, you know, living with parents is where you guys ended up, Rhys, with your mum and dad, and of course, you know, with Olive, your daughter, and another one on the way. I'm sure it hasn't been easy in everything that you've been through, but you know, it was wonderful when we first sat down with you both when you were starting the journey to find your next home, and tell us a little bit more about the start of the journey.
I think at the start it was actually quite stressful because obviously we knew, coming in and going, this is what we like and we want, and then I think we were so keen and eager to just have something, and then in the back of my brain I'm going like, calm down, just wait it out, like the market's changing, maybe, is it not? Everyone's like, well, you know, interest rates are going up, so just wait. And then Michelle's like, no, I want something now, you know. It's like, we wanted something, but then we don't know what was happening. And then it was sort of that back and forth of like, now, no, wait, go. And then, so I think that was a little bit stressful. And then I think once we trusted you guys a bit more, and Dana and everyone, I think we were sort of more like, okay, like we're in the roll of it now. Like, let's send a few, let's go have a look. Yeah, I think that sort of made it a little bit less stressful than the very start, but because we weren't used to having, you know, a team behind us helping.
Yes.
You know, when you go out by yourself, you just like
shopping everywhere.
You know what I mean. So,
and it was definitely like that. I remember a point when we went when we were at the Camp Hill house. And we'd already sat down with you guys and we'd written a list of like deal breakers, things we want, things that are like happy to have but don't necessarily need. And I remember we were at the Camp Hill house. I think it was Dana said to me, okay, so what do you actually like about this house? Because this is very different to what you told us you wanted. And at that point, I was kind of like, in retrospect now, I'm kind of like, I think I was just at the point where I was like, this will do. Like, I'm happy with this one. It's fine, you know. But like now looking back on it, it was good to have someone be like, okay, well, just also like get what you want. Like, you know, don't just be like, this is.
Keep you on the path of what you're looking for.
Yeah, exactly. To be like, okay, well, this is 3-bed. You did say you wanted 4. Like, are we sure that this is the right one? So, I mean, exactly what you said, Rhys. Like, I'm very much more like, okay, this is fine. And Rhys is like, hang on a minute. So
find something that sense and it's we're ready for.
But. Yeah, and it's, I mean, for us, it's look, we've been on the journey with you a bit as well. I went quiet actually, because I know you got emotional with what Melinda read, and I was sitting here, the soft side of me was coming out. But, you know, to come through all that and see what you guys have come through and how we've tried to help you along and keep you and keep you on track, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I know we had some conversations on the phone and go, do you really want that? Not really. Well, don't buy it. But to actually try and help that way, because for us, it's not emotional. Like when we go and do what we do, we try and take that emotion out.
Yeah.
And you've had a massive amount of emotion going through both and your whole family. So to try and take that away and go, no, this is what you told us. This is what you actually want. So let's stay on track and keep on that journey of what you're trying to get out of it. And avoid flood, which we definitely did that for you.
Yeah. I think that you know, our job when we partner with couples and families just like yourselves is to remind you about what you really want, because home buying, property buying in general, it is, emotions can get in the way. And you're right, the market has been a changing market. So when we're helping you understand, you know, what's changing in the market and what other buyers are doing, that can create some anxiety for you, I guess, in terms of, oh, well, we need to move a bit quicker if there's more buyers entering the market. But ultimately for us, it's about making sure you buy something that's a match for what you're looking for. So always bringing you back to what you really want, what your brief is, and alerting you when you're looking at something that's off brief based on what those initial discussions were. And those initial discussions are always completed at a time where you're not emotional, you're not looking at a specific property, and so you really get some clarity. So us keeping you aligned with what you really want is obviously our role, because a lot of people, and we've seen it in the past, people will make compromises and then have buyer's remorse and have that regret afterwards, and we don't want that for our clients. So
for sure. And we look at the house that we have now, and we could go through that list now, and I know it would tick 95% of the things that we wrote down. You know, we don't feel like we actually did really compromise on anything, nothing major anyway, nothing that we couldn't update or anything like that. So now being on the other side of that, it's kind of like, okay, no, we really did pick the right house for us. And I think of the ones that we did think, oh, maybe we'll put an offer on now, being like, oh, we would have felt too small, or we would have, you know, like
I know that Aroni one you love. We first saw that. It's just like, I drive out there every day, and it's just like traffic on the
long way
and back, like, because I've got like a few jobs and my business around there, and I'm just like stuck. I'm just like, oh, so how do we buy here?
not what you
and you guys both work full time. You've got Ollie's is nearly 4. You've got another one on the way. I mean, taking that time to spend looking at properties. I mean, how did that side of it help? Did it free it up for you guys so you could try and clear your head and get on with life and still work?
We did go to a few like open homes like early in the piece, and then taking Olive to those was just a nightmare. Like, honestly, like taking a 3-year-old, she's like in their vanity pulling out, you know, they're
jumping on beds, like couches.
It's so hard to do that. So having you guys go do the videos, do the briefs on it was so much of it, like so much more of a pleasant experience.
And like, it's almost like it's like being there and being able to see it, you know, in real time. So
even to look back on those, like before we'd actually settled on it, we'd be like, okay, what does this space look like again? Okay, what type of fridge would we have? To even just to have those videos, you know, during that time was super.
What's in that thing? I don't know. Let's just get back to the video. Pause. Oh, that's what's in there. Like,
anything you kind of missed by like, you know, physically walking through, you could reflect on those videos.
And having, as you said, having Ollie dragging kids around to opens and inspections, and I can understand how busy it was, because on settlement day I sat on the lawn and played cards and dolls and collected flowers with her, and that was pretty busy for me.
There's no stopping her.
It was fun, but I learned a lot about Frozen because I've got 3 boys. I learned more about Frozen than I ever have.
Now, I know when we found the home, and I reflect on the day Dana had been through, she went through before she took you back, and she called me. She said, this is the one. It's perfect for Michelle and Rhys, and I know they're going to love it. And on the same day, she had inspected another property in a different location, which I think at the time you'd indicated you liked as well. But she said, no, this is actually not going to work because it's too small. It's not right. The one that Dana knew was the perfect match is the one you ended up purchasing, and you now call home. But obviously, you know, there's a process whereby we guide you to the right property. We perform all of the due diligence so that you know that there's no issues with the property in terms of flood or plane noise, things that you don't even potentially think about. But of course, a lot of people would partner with a buyer's agent to get an understanding of price. And there's a few things that play there. There's sellers' expectations. There's obviously market value based on the most recent comparable sales. And of course, our relationship with agents enables us to be more transparent around what that negotiation process would look like. Talk us through the experience that you had in terms of going through that offer process, and how you found our expertise guided you in that way.
Well, we actually, I don't know, I think both of us, in like some of those briefs that you'd sent through with, I suppose, median house prices and things in the area, and we were sort of, Michelle and I were sort of looking at that, and then because we also didn't know the market either at that,
Yeah.
it's been what 3 years since we purchased the property.
Yes.
And then I know when we're talking to you and Dana, Scott, about putting in that first offer, and we were sort of, I was like, well, what do you suggest? Because we don't know.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't done this. And then you're like, oh, look, we think maybe this. And then Michelle and I are like, yeah, we agree. And then behind your back, we went, wow, maybe we don't agree. Let's maybe do this. And then I don't know why. We just not that we didn't think you were right. And not that I think we thought we were right, but I don't know, it was just like a gut feeling that maybe, no, let's just maybe do what we would do first. It blows up.
Yeah.
And then we can go, yep, you're right, sorry.
And to be fair, you suggested is what we paid for the house. So you were bang on in hindsight, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's all, I mean, we didn't really know. And like the price we paid for this house is double the price we paid for our first house. So that's how long we've been out of the market for, right?
Yes.
But no, it was super helpful. And I mean, even just having you guys to be like, okay, well, if you do offer this, you may miss out. So are you prepared to miss out? And kind of just being like, okay, Rhys, are we prepared to miss out? And just kind of starting those conversations. Because you don't have any idea. Like it's like I said, it's double the price.
It's like when I explained to you, exactly what you said earlier too about the emotion.
Yeah.
When we were talking about price, the emotion started kicking in for both of us.
Yes.
And then that first offer probably was more of an emotional, no, well, they want this much and we think it's going down now. Like, well, it became more of like, well, it's our expectation, not what the market's expectation was, like you were just saying. And then, it's just funny that it ended up working out how
we did sit down though after you, Scott, had said, are you prepared to miss out on this house if they say no?
Yeah.
Because obviously you guys had dealt with the agent at that point. You knew a bit more what she was thinking versus what we had in mind. And we cooked dinner that night and we sat down and we went, are we prepared to miss out on this house? And we both knew in the back of our minds that no, we weren't. Like, because I did walk in there, and I know you did as well, Rhys. I did walk in there and go, oh, I love this house. This is definitely what I've been looking for. So I think, we had that conversation and we went, no, we probably aren't prepared. Like, we should probably, what is our max we want to pay for this? Within the scope of what you had, because obviously you had given us a ballpark figure of what you think.
That's right.
And then, okay, what are we comfortable within that mark? And then we had the reassurance of, okay, they have said it is worth this. What are we comfortable within that? And we knew pretty early on that we were hopefully not going to miss out on that. We were going to try our best not to anyway.
Yeah. And I think, as you pointed out, the fact that we provide our advice, you actually put forward an offer that you're comfortable with, and we don't actually go against your instructions. We always work with your instructions, but we'll guide you about the what if scenarios so that you're very aware of what might unfold, if we follow this path B as opposed to path A. And I think that's part of a point of difference that we have as your advocate. We're there to guide you, obviously, but we're there to work under your instructions. So we'll never say, well, we're not doing that. That's not okay. We'll work with your instructions and do our best to ensure that we get engagement from the seller to be able to pull a negotiation together. So I hope that you found that was the case, and certainly not us dictating how we're going to run this, advising, but obviously you leading in terms of the instructions you're providing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When we came up with that initial figure for our very first offer, we did feel like that. You guys put it forward and you weren't like, oh, that we don't advise that. You were just like, this is, if that's where you want to start, we'll start there.
Yeah.
FYI, you may not get engagement. You may not get this house. Are you prepared for that to be the case? We definitely felt in control of that with your guidance for sure.
Good.
Perfect.
So obviously then going forward, the contract was accepted. And then obviously the new home and the settlement or pre-settlement inspection, the excitement of settlement, moving in. It was something that people wouldn't even understand. And I probably didn't even think about it. I think I said to you, Michelle, out there at pre-settlement, oh, so when's the removalists bringing all your gear in?
Yeah.
We don't have any gear. And it actually was, I took a step back and I went, oh my God, I felt like I shouldn't have even asked that because I felt sorry. And I was sorry, I shouldn't have. But like, you don't even think about that. You've had a house that's been completely engulfed with water. It's not that you've lost your house as well, but you've lost all of your furniture, everything. Lounges, fridges, you name it.
It's actually been nice because everything gets delivered. You don't need a removalist job.
Not at the time when you're throwing your whole entire contents of your house on your front lawn. Like that's not at the time. But I mean, we also didn't know how long this process would take, right? And it's been just a little over a year. So I mean, as well, like even if you saved everything, where are you going to put that stuff for a year? If you went to the trouble of cleaning it and all of that stuff, and I mean, we knew we were renovating our house, so everything we had in it was things that we bought for an apartment we'd live in. So we knew we were going to update everything anyway. But yes, it has been. You're not the only person that said that to me as well, Scott. Everyone's going to be like,
everyone's
really have anything. Like, my suitcases, but no, that actually has been quite nice because when do you ever just refurnish the entire contents of your house? You never actually do that. You buy things as you go and update things as you go. So it is really nice to like not only have a new house but to have everything like fresh and clean and I've bought everything that I want. Whereas like sometimes you're like, oh, that's a special or a good deal or we'll buy it for this house. But this time I said to Rhys, like, I am buying a nice dining table. I am buying a nice, and Rhys is just so like, okay.
Could we have got the house for less?
Do you know what? It's been quite therapeutic. Like, I think I started buying stuff in like November last year. Just like I'd come home with like kitchen things and like pots and pans, and Rhys would be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like,
"Mum and Dad's like meeting room. It's just like box and all the fun is gone."
I am ready. Say the word, and we're out of here. I've got, we've got the essentials.
So. And you have one of the hand-me-down cot for the new baby. It'll be all brand new. What's that hand-me-down?
No, actually, Rhys's mum, when she was overseas, had this beautiful bassinet made for Olive, and our neighbours actually put that up high for us, and we saved that. So, I think I was actually really sad about that. That was the one thing she was like, "What do you want to get out of your house, or what do you want to move?" And they actually canoed back over there when the water was like relatively high and moved some things higher for us. They did take some things out, like our wedding album and things like you can't replace, but that actually got moved, so we were able to do that. So really
things that you can't replace them.
It's crazy. Like, I mean, the neighbor called, and because they had keys to our house, right? Because they were feeding our cat, and she was like, when someone calls you and say like, "What do you want me to take out of your house?" Because all of your things are about to, and you're just kind of like, what other things? Like, what other things? Like, it was like,
it'd be a phone call no one would ever want to listen.
It's hard on that spot to think like, what are your most precious things in your house, and where are they? Like,
that's true.
But no, we did save a couple of things that were important to us, so it's good.
Now I know that in the first podcast we did with you, Rhys, your dad probably copped a hammering there, saying should have bought that house that was flooded, but. Your family's amazing, isn't it? Like, they put you guys up for over 12 months, which I couldn't imagine doing that. I'm trying to want my kids to grow up and move out of house, but to come back in with not just you, but you've got a little one, your whole family. Like, it's amazing the support you had from the family, and obviously now helping doing some tidy ups at home, a bit of painting and a few changes at the new house. But I think that's been sort of priceless to have that support as well from family.
Yeah. Oh, look. We didn't bag him pretty much last time. But I could never thank Mum and Dad enough.
Yeah.
Honestly, like they've been so good to again put us up for over 12 months. Obviously under bad circumstances, but they've been quite good too. They've got a camper and they've been off, going to Australia or
doing their own holidays.
Go and do little holidays here and there. So I think they've also been trying to give us a little bit of space as well. And I think they were quite mindful of they wanted to go away and do their own thing as well. But they will get their house back pretty soon. So I think they're happy. But
I think we're in for a rude awakening too with this new house, because like I come home from work, my laundry's done.
Mum's got like food on the table.
Chicken pies. Said to Rhys like a week ago, "Oh, quick, let's like," because every other day Kim will be like, "What do you want for dinner tonight?" or any suggestions, and And I said to Rhys the other day, quick, let's do like roast every night, like all the things that we don't really put in our orders now. So
I think Mum's liked it too, though, because she goes, it's easy cooking for 4.5 rather than just 2.
Yes,
So,
true.
but yeah, and then since settlement day, basically, Mum and Dad have been over there, painting walls, ripping off wallpaper. They've pretty much painted the whole inside of the house over a week, Tuesday to Tuesday, basically. And all like other little finishing touches, new door handles and helping me lift move the fridge around and all sorts of stuff. So, they've been such a big help, and I think they're really excited for us as well.
I'm sure they will be. And, I think they'll be missing you, I think, when you move out after being so connected for over 12 months and having Olive, their granddaughter, living with them as well. So
we did have this conversation the other day, didn't we? And they both corrected us and said, Olive.
Mum keeps going, Olive, I'm going to miss you. You're not going to be here. You better come and visit me.
Said to me in the car the other day, so when will we see me, Granddad? And I was like, on the weekend.
Yeah.
She's called it her other house now. Like now we just have 2 homes.
Oh,
but it's been really nice for them. Like Olive will go in there in the morning and they'll give her a marshmallow when they wake up. It's been really nice for their bond, I think. She's that little bit older now, and it's been.
I've had a whole year with it.
It's definitely been some good that's come out of everything.
And so work-wise, you guys are still working. So what's your business? Give it a plug while you're here.
Yeah,
Tropical Plant Rentals.
Tropical Plant Rentals. Look at the shirt. It's going all right at the moment. It's nice to have a new house where I can start storing all my pots and plants again. So, but yeah, if anyone again would like some indoor plants for their offices or foyers or anything like that, obviously give us a shout out. Be more than happy to come give a free quote and see if we can't spruce your office out with some indoor plants. But that's about it.
And Michelle, you're at Dish.
I am. I've been there for coming up to 2 years now, I think. Yeah, they've been amazing and supportive throughout the whole process. I think I just started, I was with them, I think maybe 6 or 8 weeks before our house flooded, not even quite. And they gave me like 2 weeks of annual leave off straight away, like completely paid for, being like, you just go and sort yourself out and come back to us when you're done. But yeah, I love it there. Such an awesome team and the culture is incredible. So
some exciting times. New home, new beginnings, new memories. You'll have to do an update on your Facebook post. Really nice, happy. I think
totally happy ending.
I think from what we've sort of gathered, not just today, but through the journey with you guys, there's massive ups and downs and emotions involved. And I'm really, really glad that there's a happy side and the shining light in there now that you can move on to the new home and new beginnings and add a new family member and start all those family memories. So
looking forward to it.
I'm so excited.
A big shout out to you both. We're really appreciative that you were comfortable sharing your story with us. It's been an absolute pleasure for us to partner with you on the journey to find your new home, and we hope that it creates lots and lots of new memories for you both and your family in the years ahead. And it's just been great to be a part of the journey with you.
Thank you. We appreciate you guys so much and everything you have done.
Yeah, both of you for obviously reaching out initially, because if you hadn't reached out, we'd be probably still looking, to be honest. But also, Dana, who we dealt with pretty much most of the time or nearly every day, and then the rest of the team, thank you so much for helping us. It's been such a great experience, I think. You're
very welcome. So, well, look, we'll wrap it up there. I'll let Melinda close out as I normally do in the podcast. But happy days, and it's been a pleasure to working with you guys. Thanks for sharing the story with everyone. And I'll let Melinda close up. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us again on another episode of the Brisbane Property Podcast. As always, if you have enjoyed our content, please share with friends and family, and don't forget to leave us a review on iTunes. It does help other people find every episode and benefit from the content that we share. As always, have a fabulous week. We will speak to you again soon. Bye for now.